Hello, everybody. My name is Martha Alter Hines with Living the One Light. All right. So, in this video, I am going to talk about Neptune and Saturn doing their dance, both of them from Pisces into Aries, and then back into Pisces, and then back into Aries that they're doing in 2025 and 2026. And um, and I'm going to make an attempt to at least begin a journey around the houses, to be able to talk about, depending on the configuration of your chart, how maybe this is playing out differently for you. Um, and as always, when I do these kind of videos, XYZ through the houses, I give the huge caveat that it's not that simple. And I hesitate even to do a video like that, but it seems to be helpful. So I'm doing it. And I think it is actually interesting to feel into, if you have a particular rising sign, then there's, a set of things that perhaps is alive for you. So I'm going to try to do that here. Um, yeah. So first of all, I will say in the Becoming Superconductors of Love Summit, which is still totally free, totally available indefinitely. You can enjoy all of it. There were many conversations that talked about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that will be happening exact February 20th, 2026 at 0 degrees of Aries. So I'm not going to repeat all of that. There was the conversation I had with Ari Moshe Wolf in the summit, um, is about that. The conversation I had with Chris Skidmore is about that from totally different angles. And I think both really helpful. You guys seem to really enjoy all of those talks. So yeah, if you haven't seen them, go and enjoy those. But but the Saturn Neptune dance is referred to in most of those talks actually. Um, so I'm just going to give a brief sense of my feeling on it, because now Neptune has entered Aries. And and I also want to tell you the dates of all of this dance happening. So we have Neptune in 2025. Basically, Neptune is going to be in the sign of Aries now for almost 7 months. Um, and in the middle of that, Saturn will enter Aries for approximately 3 months. So, so Neptune just entered Aries on March 30th, the day after the solar eclipse. And I'm just bringing up the dates, the exact dates here. um, and then, yeah, so Neptune is going to be in Aries from March 30th to October 22nd, 2025. So almost 7 months total. And in the middle of all of that, Saturn will be in Aries from May 24th to September 1st, 2025. So for a tiny bit over 3 months. And then on September 1st, Saturn re-enters Pisces, and on October 22nd, Neptune re-enters Pisces. And then in 2026, early next year, Neptune will re-enter Aries fully on January 26th. Saturn will re-enter Aries fully on February 13th. And then they meet. They don't come together fully in 2025, even though they get really, really, really close. They finally come together fully on February 20th, 2026. Okay. So what that means is that in 2025, we really have this, as we talked about a ton in the summit, there's this mega, mega, mega dance going on between Aries and Pisces. And Saturn and Neptune are doing that dance. Currently, Venus and Mercury are doing that dance. We just had the solar eclipse, which was at 9 degrees of Aries. and the North Node is in Pisces, right? So this all this Pisces Aries stuff. Okay. So what I'm going to show you when I pull up the chart, what I think is really significant is to feel into in your own chart, in your own life, where the Pisces Aries dance is. Because we have Aries highlighted clearly as these things are going back and forth into Aries, but we also have Pisces very highlighted, especially the end degrees of Pisces and the first 9 degrees of Aries is particularly highlighted right now. But in addition, in Aries, we have Chiron very significant there too. So Chiron, has been in this square with Mars. Um, and the Chiron dance, as I talked about in recent videos, also is really important. So pretty much all of Aries is quite highlighted in different ways at this during this year and right now. So the early degrees of Aries are highlighted by this, all the things going into and out of Aries and back into Pisces and all of that. The 9 degrees of Aries point was just super, super highlighted by that solar eclipse new moon. And then the end degrees of Aries are going to have Chiron going through there. So if you have basically anything, pretty much anywhere in Aries, probably it has something going on. um, but what I'm really going to look at is, depending on your ascendant sign, you are having a dance going on between this Pisces energy and the Aries energy. And in particular, with Neptune entering Aries, having now entered it, what I'm feeling in my body, what I'm feeling the most called to be present with, is this sense that I talked about this in the closing ceremony of the summit. I suddenly feel this calling, and the spirit world keeps saying this, to be light and love in action, to be embodied, to be in form. And there are so many ways we can be in the form of love, right? In the embodiment of it. And when we have Saturn come along out of Pisces into Aries and get super close to Neptune, I'm just going to guess that feeling might even get stronger. I don't know. But because we're not there yet, that's going to be May 24th. But Saturn's coming along, and Saturn is about form and is about structure. So I think it's so interesting that I'm already feeling that so strongly just with Neptune being there. But once Saturn comes in, right? And in particular, what I'm feeling alive in so much of what I've been channeling lately, so much of what I've just been feeling in my own praying, is that we're being called and asked to really embody the light codes that are us and the wholeness that is us. And the spirit world asked me to remind everybody about the Wholeness Way series. If you haven't seen it yet, they're saying, please, 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 please tell them that is still so relevant, so supportive, so needed in this time. And it's entirely free. It's here on my YouTube channel. Please enjoy it if you haven't yet. It's a month-long free series and really supports us to embody the wholeness that we are. So anyway, just that's there. I'll put the link again. But what I'm going to do is just briefly touch on each of the houses, and depending on your ascendant sign, where probably this Pisces Aries dance is, and what does it feel like when we go from Neptune being in Pisces, which to me is like so big. It's like infinity itself, right? Neptune in Pisces, which is the sign that it is the wisdom keeper of, or the ruler of. It's like the all that is like every possibility in infinity. And suddenly now we have Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries, which is the very first sign, or the very first degree of the zodiac. And it feels like light embodied, the light code, the seed that is us with the divine intelligence already there, super present, but in form. Us being light in form, not just like every possibility out there, but actually the divine intelligence that's specifically in form as us. It's a subtle shift, but it's very significant. And tell me if that you can feel it or not, because I don't, yeah. Anyway, um, I I channeled something at the end of the video I did for the solar eclipse, which might be helpful to feel it if you're not getting like feeling the feeling I'm talking about. So go back to that video if you want to. It's the second half of that video where I channeled Celestia and um yeah, so yeah, that might be supportive. Um okay, so I'm just going to do this briefly. So let's start with Aries ascendant. First of all, if you have a 0, I mean, this is very rare, but if you happen to have 0-degree Aries ascendant, whoa, it's like you're really being highlighted. Wow, big time, big time. This is like a humongous time for you. Next year will be absolutely humongous. So much going on there for you. Okay, but most people do not, I don't think I've ever come across a chart with a 0 degrees Aries ascendant. But if you have one, let us know because that's amazing. For the most part, however, if you have an Aries ascendant, you will not have a 0 degrees Aries ascendant. You'll have a something else degrees Aries ascendant. And this Pisces Aries dance will be in your 12th house for the most part. Okay, so these are all generalities. This is not going to be exact. So listen to whatever actually applies for you. But here I'm going to talk about the 12th house. So if you have the North Node in Pisces and then Aries having now moved into, I mean, Neptune having now moved into Aries in your 12th house, obviously your 12th house is very, very, very highlighted. So what I could imagine here, maybe, is a feeling of, and you know, you tell us, like, how relevant is this for you? I would love to hear. um, there would be a sense perhaps of your own spirituality, your own relationship with the spirit world, maybe suddenly becoming much more concrete, I want to say, or like in form, you know, as opposed to just sort of this ethereal feeling that might feel kind of diffuse or could be very blissful, could be very with everything in Pisces in your 12th house, you know, there could be a sense of lots and lots of downloads having been happening for you over the past years. But now with Neptune entering Aries in your 12th house, I wonder, I mean, I don't know, but I wonder if this might be a time that suddenly things become more tangible or more concrete, more, yeah, touchable in a sense, and more embodied, more in form, especially as Saturn then comes into Aries as well. Depending on the degree of your ascendant, if you might have had that new moon right in your ascendant if your ascendant is around that 9 degrees point, or if your ascendant is more in the later degrees of Aries, then you have Chiron there on your ascendant. If you have Chiron, if you have the new moon on your ascendant, it's a big new beginning for you. I mean, big time. It's like really big time. If you have the Chiron there on your ascendant, like more of the 22, 23, 24, 25 degree ascendant in Aries, then there's maybe a lot of healing going on for you with regard to your identity, how you conceive of yourself. There might be a lot of pain and healing, both. Okay. So then moving on to a Taurus ascendant. With a Taurus ascendant, again, this is not going to be exact, so listen to multiple multiple signs, whatever happens to apply for you. If you have a Taurus ascendant, chances are good that this Pisces Aries dance is going on for you in your 11th house. Okay. So let's feel into that. So 11th house often has to do with community, groups, friendships, your role in society, your role in community, innovation, like-minded community spaces, things like that. So maybe if with the Taurus ascendant, maybe there has been a sense of sort of like an etherealness, like a big spiritual even downloads happening, like a lot of spiritual energy happening maybe for you in community spaces. But maybe now, as Neptune starts to move in, is now in Aries, and then Saturn will be coming along, moving into Aries also in your 11th house, there could be more of a sense of form. How does that actually take place? How are we actually going to do that? Maybe things become more concrete, more immediate in having a form for this community space that's for you really important for it to be spiritual and all of that. Yeah, let us know. How is that? And yeah, and you probably have Chiron either in your 11th house or your 12th house. Um, so again, just depending on the configuration of your own chart, this whole sense of community might both be really, really, really highlighted and super important for you. And there also might be a pretty strong sense of healing around previously feeling ostracized in community groups or social groups or whatever it is. And maybe a longing for a more healed version or a more healthy version of that. And then maybe that now having a chance to manifest. Um, and then Gemini rising, again, generalizing this. Yeah, Gemini, Gemini rising. Chances are good that you're going to have this Pisces Aries dance going on in your 10th house. And if you have Gemini rising, pay attention to where Jupiter is, because Jupiter is currently at 16 degrees of Gemini. So if you have a Gemini ascendant, in the mid degrees and up, you're going to be having Jupiter crossing your ascendant. So pay attention to that. Jupiter crossing the ascendant in general is very, very, very supportive, like big new beginnings possible or things freeing up, even losses possibly. But if there are losses, maybe think about, is this somehow freeing me up to expand into what actually is serving me best? I don't know. Um, but to have the Pisces Aries dance going on in your 10th house, let's feel into that. Yeah, what's coming to me about that is you might maybe have a sort of idealistic sense or like desire to, in a sense, fit into society, or maybe have like sort of a dream when it comes to how you want to be in the world and in the forms of society. And that could be both really, really beautiful and possibly disillusioning. When you have Neptune in in Pisces in your 10th house, that could be really amazing. Like again, ecstatic, really beautiful spiritual things open up and all that. Maybe there's really strong spiritual work going on for you. And or it can be very confusing. Like what in the world am I actually supposed to do, right? But now with Neptune entering Aries in your 10th house, maybe, and then Saturn coming along also, maybe the form of what you're being called to do in the world would become more clear, and your light codes and how they're meant to manifest in a career or in some tangible form maybe suddenly becomes more tangible, more present. Again, let us know. What is that feeling like? Or maybe you get a better sense of how it could be tangible over this coming year, right? And then in 2026, maybe it becomes even more manifest. I don't know. Tell us, because with that Jupiter also crossing the ascendant, potentially, there could be a lot opening up for you. Maybe. Report back. Okay. Then a Cancer ascendant. Um, So with a Cancer ascendant, theoretically, you would have this Pisces Aries dance going on in your ninth house. And you, depending on the degree of your ascendant, you might have just had Mars crossing your ascendant. Well, yeah, probably you've had Mars going back and forth over your ascendant. That's high probability. And so you might have also, similar to Gemini ascendant, been getting really activated by that Mars transit. Maybe a new beginning, or you're getting kind of kicked into gear to do something new, possibly. And then you have this Pisces Aries dance going on in your ninth house. So that could be feeling like I'd be curious about your belief systems and ninth house, right? The with Neptune and all of North Node and everything going on in Pisces in your ninth house. I mean, there could be like this humongous infusion of etheric, beautiful beauty, and a whole new sense of communion with the spirit world, or something along those lines, or like a whole new perspective on the meaning of life, or your spiritual beliefs, or something along those lines. But then with the shift going into Aries, Neptune, and then Saturn, I wonder if somehow that would your belief system become more concrete, like the unique essence of your own being suddenly having a I want to say like a leg to stand on, like a instead of it being ideas, suddenly something just lands in your body and your being and your knowing in a much more simple yet concrete way. I don't know. Tell us. Okay. And then Leo rising. With Leo rising, theoretically, you would have all of this Pisces Aries dance going on in your eighth house. And so the let's feel into that. Yeah, I mean, so again, theoretically, you would be maybe getting really supported to go deep, to go really, really deep. And to me, what's coming alive for me is perhaps there's a support here for you to be doing a ton of forgiveness and forgiving with regard to very deep karmic kind of underworld journey energies, and really clearing, like almost like going down to the underworld of your soul and taking this flashlight of beautiful divine light, right? And just like shining it and holding vigil, holding space in that underworld of yourself. So that energy could have been, maybe has been alive for a while, especially this year as the North Node moved into Pisces. But now with Neptune moving into Aries there and Saturn moving in there, I mean, I love that Pisces energy, honestly, in that underworld space. Um, but with the Aries, now with it moving into Aries, maybe there's more of a sense of concrete, like an allyship, like a sense of really being like somebody there really holding your hand. Like maybe not quite as if you felt sort of lost in that underworld space, then maybe it's more of a sense of like there's an ally here holding your hand in some way. Um, yeah, because the underworld journey isn't over. I mean, that's still being very highlighted in your eighth house for the whole rest of this year, probably, again, depending on the exact configuration of your chart. But yeah, and then Chiron, um, possibly also in your eighth house, depending again on your chart, maybe in your ninth house. Yeah, there could just be just a ton of healing, karmic healing possibilities for you. Okay. And then Virgo rising, which is me and lots of you, I know. Virgo rising, these Aries energies are probably in your seventh house, so have to do with a lot to do with relationship and equal relationships. So it could be, friendships, lovers, partners, business partners. It could be all kinds of things. But just the way you relate to others would be really, really highlighted. And the learning you're doing through relating to others would be really, really highlighted. So on the one hand, because you have Virgo ascendant, you therefore definitely have a Pisces descendant, which means you may be prone to um, losing yourself in others, especially if you have strong Pisces energy, like I do, then you might have a tendency to give a lot away. And the strong Pisces energy there would potentially be highlighting that, but you have Saturn coming along through there, really supporting you to have good boundaries, really strengthening, to get your own needs met, etc. And now Neptune is in Aries. So what comes up for me there is really, really strong support to have very healthy boundaries and healthy ways of really nurturing yourself. And then bringing that to your ways of relating to others, among other things. I mean, there's so much there, right? And if you have a Virgo ascendant, then therefore the South Node is going to be crossing your ascendant too. So in this year, the eclipses will likely be highlighting your ascendant and descendant. So your own identity, your ways of relating with others is going to be extra, extra highlighted by all of the eclipses of 2025 and 2026. That's a big deal. Okay, Libra ascendant. If you happen to have, oops, oh my goodness, why are you, no, that is not what I meant to do. Wow. Let's go back to Libra ascendant. Okay. Yeah. If you happen to have a 0 degrees Libra ascendant, which again is incredibly rare, then that's a big deal. Let us know, because if you have a 0 degree Libra ascendant, that means you have a 0 degree Aries descendant, which means that Neptune and all of this is exactly on your descendant, which means your whole kind of relating to others is incredibly highlighted right now. And everything I just mentioned would be extra, extra, extra. But in general, with a Libra ascendant, you probably have all this Pisces Aries dance going on in your 6th house. So let's feel into that for a second. Yeah, so your way of relating to your body, to your health, to your daily rituals, to your kind of day-to-day work, that's going to be especially highlighted. And what really comes up is, I wonder, I mean, you're probably getting a lot of focus and um, beautiful energy streaming into that part of your life. And now with the all moving into with the, Neptune into Pisces and Neptune into Aries, etc., maybe there's just a much more concrete sense of, okay, those are great ideas, but now here we go, let's actually do this. And especially when Saturn then comes along and enters Aries, I wonder how that's going to feel for you. Let us know. Okay. Scorpio rising. Scorpio ascendant. So the Scorpio ascendant, probably this Neptune, this Aries Pisces dance is in your 5th house. And let's feel into that for a second. Yeah. Okay. So 5th house is just your house of this is the house of creativity. And so what I'm feeling with all this is like, wow, wow, wow. Like, I wonder, do you have lots of art coming alive in you, or music, or dance, or like what are you feeling with your creativity, your creative energy? Because I would guess that's been super alive for you. And maybe now, with this stuff entering Aries, maybe there's a more concrete sense of, okay, this creative life force is trying to move through me. Here we go. This is how I want it to this is actually how it wants to manifest. And those light codes that are me are going to manifest in this particular way. Again, let us know. Okay. And Sagittarius rising. So with the Sagittarius rising, probably the Aries Pisces dance is highlighting your fourth house. Fourth house has to do with the home and ancestry and family and your inner emotions. So yeah, let's feel into that. And immediately what comes alive, similar to the eighth house, I guess not surprisingly, is the sense of forgiveness. Like I wonder if you've been having like a lot of support to do deep forgiveness work with regard to especially ancestral healing, possibly. Um, and even forgiving your own being, even forgiving yourself for having emotional needs. If you have Pisces ruling your fourth house, wouldn't surprise me if you're relatively sensitive, right, in general, and very empathetic and all of that. And so maybe your emotional body is very, very sensitive, and maybe there's a sense now of both forgiving the reality that you have emotions, we all have emotions, and really getting those needs met. And then with Neptune entering Aries, like having even a stronger sense of, okay, here's how I'm going to do it. Here's how I actually, my needs do need to be met, and I'm going to do it in this way, and I'm being supported in this way. And especially once Saturn comes along, I wonder if you'll have a even stronger sense of being held in that, in some sense. And then the light codes of you can come alive much more easily when you're supported, right? When your emotional needs are met, when your emotional intelligence is honored. That's huge, huge, huge. Okay. Capricorn ascendant. So with a Capricorn ascendant, probably this Pisces Aries dance is highlighting your third house, the house of communication, house of siblings and school and all of that, learning, perception. So let's feel into that. Oh yeah, voice. That's what comes alive for me here. So the beauty of your voice, like with all this Piscean energy in your third house, I'd be super curious. What are you feeling with your voice? Is there music? Is there beauty wanting to come through you? Either poetry or like yeah, something through your voice, like writing or song or all of the above. Um sound, even sound healing. Maybe it's been wanting to move, but now with Neptune and Aries, maybe it's a chance to just do it, like really actually manifest it. I don't know. Tell us. Tell us. There might be so much healing available with your voice at this point because you also have Chiron probably there in your third house or possibly over in your fourth house. But let us know. And then Aquarius ascendant. Aquarius ascendant, if you have Aquarius, if your ascendant is anywhere around the 3-degree mark, that's huge because that's where Pluto is. So just bookmarking that reality. But in terms of the Pisces Aries dance, that's probably happening in your second house. So let's feel into that for a minute. Yeah. What comes alive for me in this is a feeling of beauty and forgiving and gentleness with regard to basic survival needs. Um, so like that it's okay that something about if your survival needs have felt on edge, right? That maybe with all the strong, strong focus on the Piscean energy here, maybe there's a support for you and just feeling like it's okay. Kind of like the angels are holding you. And then with Neptune now moving into Aries, I wonder if there would be a stronger manifestation for, okay, here's how I'm going to get my needs met. So like the Piscean energy may be helping you feel like you're being held, like in the angelic realms or in the, it's very healing way. But then with Neptune, et cetera, moving into Aries, more of a concrete sense of, okay, here's how the divine and I are going to co-create and manifest these needs. I'm going to feel held and things are going to maybe become more concrete. Let us know about that too. And then last but very not least, Pisces ascendant, which is a lot of you. So Um, yeah, so if you have a Pisces ascendant, probably this dance is happening in your first house. And that's very, very, clearly all this Piscean stuff is also probably transiting your ascendant, which is huge. So lots and lots and lots of healing, potential forgiving, and maybe even like the angelic realms are visiting you and visiting who you are and just almost like dancing and celebrating who you are. And like a new beginning could be, you could be feeling like the spirit realms like really present as you with you in a whole new way, possibly. But with then Neptune entering Aries in your first house, yeah, it's like, who am I as the divine and earth as one? Like who actually am I? And how does that actually manifest? So there's this beautiful etheric being that I am. I have like, if you have Pisces rising, you're obviously very Piscean and um probably very, very sensitive and psychic and all those things are in your own way, empathetic. Um, and then how can I be that? Not only feel it, but like, how do I actually walk through the world as that being that is me and be true to all of that, not have it just feel sort of etheric and vague, but how do I manifest that? How am I here to actually be it, to be love and light in action for real? And I wonder if you're feeling that in your body in a different way. Share with us. Okay. Um, those are all the signs. So let us know. Let me know. I would love to hear how does that resonate, not resonate? What comes alive for you? And go back and enjoy all those other videos where this whole dynamic, this whole dance is talked about so much more. And then share with us. I would love to hear. All right. I hope this was helpful. Let me know, and I'll see you soon.